Okay, so honestly, I have to say that I'm quite nervous right now. I was sleepless last night, and my hair is quite messy, and I was choosing my clothes, and I was so indecisive this morning. But seeing the faces of you guys here today inspired me. And let's start my speech. Good morning, Vietnam. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Daniel. I come from Thang High School for the Gifted, and I'm currently a 12th grader specializing in English. I'm so glad and grateful to have my English graders here. And to start my presentation, I would love to guide you through the journey of my maturity. Look at this boy. He looks so cute and happy with his bronze medal in his hand, right? But he was a child who was forced into playing table tennis when he was younger by his parents. He was suffering from so much trauma in an environment full of toxic masculinity. His movements were too feminine, they said. He was too weak, they said. He wasn't allowed to cry, they said. I didn't fit in at all, and I just felt so different. And on that journey, in order to find myself again, I have to find a dream place where I really belong. And here is my next destination. Look at this boy. He has just completed his entrance exam into Panglong High School for the Gifted, and he is taking a picture standing against the green legendary backdrop of Panglong High School for the Gifted. Little did he know that shortly after that moment, he will register the top ranker as the valedictorian, the top ranker into his dream high school, and turn his uniform into his red collar right now. And I was so proud of myself. I had my friend, I felt a sense of belonging, and everybody seemed to be so accepting. But my journey was not clear of obstacles. Listen to a record of my failure. There's no sound, but there is maybe something wrong with the speaker, but at that time I failed to secure a prize into my national English contest. And to let you imagine how big that contest was to me, people who get into the provincial team in order to compete for that contest were the best people of the country. I studied so much, I slept with it, I studied consecutively 5 to 6 months. I ran, I sleep with it, I eat with it. But at the last moment, I failed. And it gave me so much trauma. I didn't feel unique enough. But on that journey, I also here, and I adopted a different identity. Here's me! This was me at the Halloween event of my school just 1 month last month. You know what? It was the first time I had put my dress on with my makeup on. Although it was not the usual thing that I would do on an everyday basis, it was a part of my identity that was wanting to make a statement to the world. I could still be a man, but not the man who fit into the stereotype of toxic masculinity that you were forcing me into. And on a journey of the courage to become who I am today, I have driven home a message. Now think of your life sake. Who here have felt that you are not unique enough in your journey? Who suffer from so much peer pressure because you think that you cannot catch up with your peers? Raise your hand. It is so prevalent, right? And the message that I come across here is that we are not unique. You are not unique. So what are we? We are different. And I bet that this train of thoughts may stir up some strong reaction from the audiences. I know, and I'm painfully aware that many of us growing up thinking that we have to build a unique individual by being told by our parents that we have to be one of a kind, we have to be special no matter what. I know that it gives us a sense of self-worth or even life purpose. But let me break this down to you a little bit. I know that when I mentioned these two terms, people were asking like, isn't it the same thing, right? Yes, indeed. When people mention the term uniqueness and differences, we could use them interchangeably. They all connotate one thing that makes us different from others, the thing that sets us apart, the thing that makes us the creature of who we are today. But if we flip it to the other side of the coin and add some more work, I would add not. When you say that you are not unique, you are thinking that it gives a negative connotation, right? It means that you are too replaceable, too common, and too ordinary. And we unwittingly commit black and white thinking when we categorize things into either unique or not unique. It hinders us from our growth. But what about when we mention the term not different? When I say that we are not different, it means that we have something in common, something that could be embraced together with our differences. And on that journey, this mindset has changed our life forever. And I'm standing here on this stage today, aiming to change your life for the better too. And can you give me some hand applause as a conclusion? You know, I picked up this line from my teacher. I'm bad, and that's good. I will never be good, and that's not bad. And you may be asking, why? And I will answer you that there are two main reasons why. The first thing is that this different mindset fosters growth. It allows us to become who we want to be, an authentic self. Remember the boy playing table tennis I told you about earlier? One day, he became so resentful of that place that he stood right in front of the gallery of all of the parents, our trainers and trainees, and he said, I will never set foot in this place again. I hate this place. You know what? Everybody looked at me in disbelief. It was as if I was metamorphosing into some kind of monster that they do not know about. The rule was clear from the very start. No one was allowed to go against adults' opinion. And when I recall that picture in my mind today, a feeling of shame haunted me. And I felt so insecure. Whenever somebody mentioned sports activity and made me engage in those activities, I did not feel unique at all. It reminded me of a weak, intolerant, and unlikable child. So I covered up those insecurities by building an image of somebody who is always joyful, happy, shares every moment he has, and always putting on a smile that you love right now. It is very signature, right? But then I realized that it robbed me of so many opportunities, particularly the opportunity to be authentic with myself. I did not dare to switch off that smile on and off the stage, even when I was snowed under with my national English contest of having to do the script, of having to lead 2 of my projects. I was scared that if I switched off that smile someday, people would not love me anymore. But through the process of healing, of having the courage to become who I am today, I tried to step out of my comfort zone a little bit and switch off that smile once in some time. And you know what? The people who love me even love me more than ever. They feel what I feel, and they felt willing to accompany me through my setback, adversities, and challenges. So that next time, if you are feeling unique, I just want to remind you that nobody's unique. We are just different. And we are different by the means that we can just be ourselves, do what we do what our inner calling is telling us to do. That is when freedom is acquired. And you may be asking the next reason. Why? One reason is not enough for me, so I'll let you come to my next why. The fact that this different mindset could embrace differences. While working on an educational project, I came across some quite staggering statistics. Only 20% of the students from rural area managed to get into my Pangnam High School for the Gifted, specializing in English. You know, the picture becomes clear, right? Students who get the most access to the teachers, the best teachers, the most resources, get into my class. But it is uniquely unfortunate for those who have to try and strive for 200% in order to get into that school. But let's discover the story of a girl who were able to embrace that seemingly difficulties and turn that into power. This is my mentee. She once written in a post on Facebook that, for me, being able to go to school is a blessing because many of my peers have to cut their educational journey midway in order to share the family burden. She was so locked in the midst of ignorance that she nearly gave up. She had to cross a steep and long hill in order to get to school every day. And when on the flood day, she doesn't get electricity at all. But she used the resilience that she acquired from the day she went out onto the open field with her grandparents. And she missed her parents so much that she turned that into a kind of motivation. Coupled with some help from us mentors, we gave her some resources and emotional support. She has become a part of our school. And you could clap your hands for that. But you might be asking also, how about the uniquely fortunate? Do they have the same stories of difficulty, of hardship? Or are they just resting on their laurels? Now let's go to this boy on my right hand. He's so handsome, he's so intelligent, and he's one of my idols. You know what? He secured a second prize in the National English Contest, a gold medal in the Olympiad, and then an 8.5 in the IELTS test. He was the best of the best. But the fact is that sometimes he barely tries at all. And a feeling of guilt haunts him whenever he has to see somebody trying to 100% in order to catch up with him. And a feeling of guilt whenever he sees that his teammates have to suffer from the peer pressure that he was inadvertently putting on them just because he was better. And the ultimate fear that he was having to overcome himself to be a better version of himself. And it becomes really clear, right? Each person have all of the stories of their unique setbacks, adversities, and challenges. But the thing is, we have to harness those seemingly unique features and turn them into power. And that is the power of differences. And after 2 whys, you may be asking, so what? What would happen? And I will answer you that question, is that this different mindset allows you to lead yourself, inspire yourself, and empower others in order to transform the world. Let me give you this model. Events leads to thoughts and emotions, and these thoughts and emotions lead to actions, and these actions lead back to events again. This is just a cycle. And you know what? You cannot change the world. but you could change your different perspective in order to transform your own fate. Remember the failure record that I've just mentioned earlier? When I failed to secure a prize in a national English contest? The event was that I was suffering from the biggest failure in my life. So the thoughts and emotion was that I am worthless. I do not have any value, and I've lost to my rival. And so what? I did not try anymore. But then I healed, and I changed my perspective. I gathered evidence that I am still a different person with different values. Do you remember the time when you were a charismatic friend giving advice to one of your despondent friends? Remember the time when you were the MC at the auction bid at Gyeongdae at Hallam High School for the Gifted? Remember when you were the leader that's empower others in order to strive and to become who they are? You are not worthless. And then I possess the power of positive thinking in order to change myself. Now let's come to another case that is really my favorite case. ADHD. It stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. Did you know that 1 in 10 children of the youth population nowadays have this kind of mental disorder? People say that children having this mental disorder have difficulties concentrating on their study, and therefore they cannot progress on their academic journey. They see it as a kind of hindrance to progress. But now, scientists, therapists, and researchers are beginning to view it in a more positive light, turning it into a kind of cognitive difference. Children with ADHD have advantages too. They have great creative bursts, and once they find a field that piques their interest, they become hyper-fixated. And that's what makes them different from others. And they could create different story of success without having to suffer from the fear of not being unique enough. How about the part of leading other people? Now imagine the people you work with as a soccer team. They are master collaborators, right? There has to be the collaboration between the goalkeeper, the strikers, the midfielders, and other components in order to drive people to triumph. And the picture becomes clear when you cannot force a goalkeeper to strike a goal. Understanding the differences in people's weaknesses and strengths give you the chance to lead people, to create a perfect team where the teammates is not really perfect themselves. And even more importantly, when you possess the different mindset, you possess the ability of empathy to forgive and move on when people make the mistake that you yourself would not normally make. So what is my conclusion for all of the audience in the conference hall today? To the best of the best, you are not unique. And please don't judge other people for their weaknesses. And please get the courage to step out of the comfort zone a little bit and delve into feats that you are not already good at. To the outcasts, the misfits, the underdogs, you are just different, and you are valuable yourself. And by understanding that you can lead people as well as yourself in order to transform this world into a better place, only then can we see the world in colors. Thank you.